warmly thank the organizers of SWAN 2019 and the privilege of welcoming and addressing all of you. It's an honor, a pleasure to have utilities, technology and solution providers, researchers, consultants, regulators, academics, and other colleagues from around the world to share the strategies for navigating the smart water journey here in Miami, where we are maneuvering our own unique path. 5,000 years ago, nature created an extraordinary path in South Florida known to some of us as the River of Grass, but known to all of us as the Everglades, which you see pictured on this first slide. I will need a clicker here. I'm not overstating things when I say that the precious natural treasure makes life in this area possible because the Everglades is where Miami-Dade County's drinking water gets its start. Our county has a wealth of natural beauty. Understandably, we are internationally recognized for our beaches, but our sensitive ecosystems, including coral reefs, Biscayne Bay, coastal wetlands, hardwood hammocks, and globally imperiled pine forests are so unique that 2 national parks, a national marine sanctuary, Florida aquatic preserves, and water conservation areas have been established inside our county, a circumstance that occurs nowhere else in the United States. The Miami-Dade Water and Sewer Department provides very high-quality drinking water and wastewater services, promotes water conservation, and work to safeguard the public health and the environment. The hardworking men and women of our utility maintain more than 14,000 combined miles of water and wastewater pipes. Our drinking water is tested more than 325,000 times a year to ensure its quality. Miami-Dade drinking surpasses federal, state, and local standards, and this past April, we were recognized as the best drinking water by the Florida section of the American Water Works Association. So if you haven't tasted our water yet, we invite you to drink up. As you might have noticed by now, Miami-Dade County is a coastal community. You may not have realized, what you may have not realized is where we are located is just about 6.5 feet above sea level, which makes the county susceptible to severe weather, even though some of our key economic drivers, namely tourism and agriculture, are weather dependent. We are situated on the southeastern tip of Florida, and most of it is nestled between the Atlantic Ocean and the Everglades. Actually, 1/3 of the county is located inside the Everglades National Park. The Miami-Dade County Water and Sewer Department serves 2.3 million customers and residents. We are surrounded by water, and water is the primary way through which we feel the effects of climate change. We have a very porous and shallow Biscayne aquifer, and what makes things further challenging is that we have 1,000 miles, over 1,000 miles of canals which crisscross the county. Given the dual realities of climate change and sea level rise, some of our concerns include precipitation frequency and intensity, sunny day flooding, saltwater intrusion, natural disasters, and severe weather events. When climate change is a global issue, climate change is felt on a local scale in Miami-Dade County. Since 1994, we have experienced about 4 inches of sea level rise. 2 to 6 inches is expected by 2030, and 14 inches is expected by the year 2060. Therefore, we find ourselves at the front line of adaptation. But the leadership and the action being taken here by the local officials, governments, universities, and organizations is creating a very sound foundation of planning, public policy, and public awareness. Water is often called our most precious resource with a good reason. Clean drinking water and wastewater treatment services sustain core functions of critical infrastructure, communities, and human health. Water is necessary for individual health, but it's also critical to scores of other processes and facilities. The AWWA says that any measure of a successful society, from the health of its economy to its public safety, is in some way or the other related to the ability to access safe water. Sometimes it's easy to forget the sheer enormity of water. It's a fact that the world is covered in water. 75%, in fact, is about 326 million trillion. I had to look that up as 18 zeros. Quite a bit. 97.5% of it is salt water and undrinkable. 2.5% is fresh water trapped in the poles, glaciers, and deep underground. That leaves us with only 0.4% of the 2.5% to share amongst the 7 billion people expected to become 10 billion by the year 2050. Added to that, agriculture means that globally we have to share the water with 1.4 billion cattle, 1 billion pigs, and 19 billion chickens. Then there is the fact that water goes for agriculture, And if you did not know this factoid, I found this up again. It's 160 liters of water to grow one large banana. So the reason I share this is it's 0.4% of water that's available to us, and the fact that we are convening here today makes this conversation even more important. We have to be smart with our water and the value proposition around it. So smart water and smart water networks to me resonates with two broad themes. One of them is around resilience, and the other is around data-driven decisions. Data-driven decisions for water quality, water quantity management, and of course, infrastructure resilience. Smart water networks are resilient networks which leverage data and in turn can effectively respond to shocks and stresses. Above all, smart water networks need to package information and communicate a story to our stakeholders, our customers, our elected officials, policymakers, and other decision makers so that the water networks receive the attention it deserves. To place things in context, it's also important to understand the term resilience. It has various definitions from various organizations, from the US government, from the US EPA, etc. My personal favorite is the one that has been put forth by the 100 Resilient Cities, which is the capacity of individuals, communities, institutions, businesses, systems, etc. And the keywords from here is the shocks and stressors, but also about adaptation. On the data side of the conversation, the data landscape is currently quite chaotic and sometimes cluttered. This slide basically shows us some eye-opening facts. 2.5 quintillion bytes of data is created every single day. I don't know how many zeros are on this one, by the way. We'll have to look that up. 90% of the data in the world was generated over the past 2 years, and the number of smart devices is projected to reach 200 billion by the year 2020. By the way, there's a new term. Some of you might already know about it. And the more data there's more information, more data than you can possibly parse. And the terms are related to infobesity, infoxication, information anxiety, and information explosion. These are all areas, I think, that would challenge us to learn and manage our data well so that we can make a better story in terms of how we manage our water utilities. Smart water networks cannot afford to be infobese. We've always had sufficient data in the form of hydraulic models and process models, lab analytical data, SCADA data, etc. The warehouse will get further obese as the Internet of Things and the digital sensor technologies are scaled up within water utilities. We need to be lean and efficient data analyzing machines. Therefore, what smart water network need is what we think is data discipline. We need to be purposeful in the collection, dissemination, and use of data. Systems have to be in place to ensure governance, data integrity, and data reliability. Then we need to use it to inform our decisions and overall strategy to a multitude of stakeholders, both internal and external to water utilities. A smart water utility is part of a larger network of stakeholders that is connected by data. The interconnected structure ensures the data is being leveraged and accessed across various functions. And as we all know, there is power in numbers, so when we grow our smart networks, they become stronger and more resilient. One thing to keep in mind is the smart water journey. Like any other resilience journey, it's going to be incremental. It involves looking back, learning from the past lessons, and at the same time innovating around it so that we can bounce forward to face the shocks and the stresses to come, because that truly would be a resilient mindset. Resilience here in the county will ensure that Miami-Dade County, its water, and all the treasures we have to offer will be enjoyed for the generations to come. Treasures like the Everglades National Park, the Vizcaya Museum and Gardens, the Fairchild Tropical Botanical Gardens, and the Perez Art Museum, Miami, and the Frost Science Museum. Miami-Dade County has much to offer, and we hope that you'll make the time to explore some of it while you're in town for the conference. Welcome again, and thank you very much, and enjoy the conference.